This story didn't happen to me, but to a very close male friend of 7 years. I was hanging out with him and a couple of other friends, and we were talking about our creepy experiences. Here's a story from his perspective. A little bit of background. I was 16 years old when this happened, living in Amman City, the capital of Jordan in the Middle East. I was in high school. I used to weigh 85 kilograms and was 192 centimeters tall. I was a calm but intimidating person if I needed to be, but I never really messed with anyone unless I was provoked to. I had just gotten off school and decided I wanted to go downtown, and because I was pretty bored and didn't want to stay at home, I wanted to get some DVDs and games to enjoy later, so I decided to take the bus as I wanted to save money. I had to take a taxi to the bus stop, which was about less than 10 minutes by car. When I stopped a coming taxi, inside the vehicle appeared a light-skinned man with black greasy hair, wearing a worn-out dark green shirt and a pair of jeans. He looked to be between the age of 30 to 34, and addressed me through the passenger window and asked, "Hey, where do you want to go?" "I need to go to the bus stop that takes me downtown. It's only about 10 minutes away." "Well, I can take you downtown if you like. I'm gonna pass by that area. I can drop you there and you don't have to pay me." At this point, a red flag should have gotten off in my head, but I thought that maybe this man just wanted to be kind, and I didn't really want to go through the hassle of taking more than one trip. I decided to hop into his car, and we would be on our way. Looking back on it now, this was a big fucking mistake. Now there are different ways to head downtown, and I only knew a couple of them. As the man was driving, he started to take different routes that I've never seen before. Still, no alarm bell started ringing, as I only assumed he was taking a shortcut to get away from traffic. By this point, 20 minutes had passed, and I began to feel uneasy. Usually from the bus route I take, it only needs about 20 minutes to get downtown, when there's little to no traffic. But I brushed it off once again. And then suddenly the man began to speak in his calm yet suspicious tone. "Hey, do you mind if I use your phone? I want to see if you have any videos or music I can send via Bluetooth." I found this to be a strange request, but seeing as the man was giving me a free ride, and the fact that I didn't have anything private in my phone, I handed it to him, as I didn't want to be impolite and was just trying to break the awkward atmosphere. He played with the phone a little bit, then proceeded to put my phone with his own under the empty space of the driver's door handle. Doubt began circling my mind, and I felt vulnerable without my phone. Yet despite all this, I silenced my doubts and stared into the window outside. The feeling of dread and uneasiness only grew more, as I was not able to make out where we exactly were anymore. As the man kept driving, I only started to see empty road with only desert on both left and right sides, with only a couple of old, worn-out, rusty shipping containers. It was getting dark at this point, and this is where things get even creepier. The man proceeds to pick up his phone and began to speak to someone at the end of the line, shouting the following with an angry voice. "I'm coming to fuck you up, motherfucker. You better prepare yourself, as I'm coming to beat you up, you son of a bitch." As soon as the man ended the phone call, I knew something was horribly wrong. Looking closely at the phone he was holding, I was able to recognize that the phone he had was the type of phone that doesn't have Bluetooth. Alarm bells started ringing loudly in my head. The whole call came out of nowhere, and I could feel a dread, and the fear was absolutely real. I asked him for my phone, growing nervous and impatient with each word escaping my mouth. He looked at me with a strange look and said, "I just wanted to see what you've got on your phone." By this point I had enough, and I sternly told him to give me my phone, the anger and fear barely contained in my voice. He hesitantly obliged after muttering back and forth to himself, and I just knew I had to get out of this car. Feeling a rush of adrenaline, I decided to pretend I was talking to my parents, and created a scenario where there was an emergency and that I had to get back. I began telling the man that I need to return immediately, and told him to drop me off right here and right now, As I was seeing an upcoming traffic light, I knew that this was my only chance of escape. I wasn't sticking around any longer to know where this man was taking me, to God knows fucking where. As soon as the man stopped at the traffic light, I spoke to him in the most intimidating voice to open the passenger door. Luckily, there were a couple of cars that had stopped next to us, and thank God the man responded with a menacing look and just pressed the unlock button. I got out of the car faster than you could say, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and went straight into a small run towards a coffee break stop in the middle of nowhere as the taxi sped off. I went inside and asked the server if downtown was close by, out of breath with sweat dripping from my forehead. The server looked at me with a confused yet irritated face and said, "You know you're out of the capital, right? Heading to the city of Zarqua?" Shit, I thought. Fucking shit. As I proceeded to call my parents to pick me up from the middle of nowhere. God knows I'm not taking a taxi to get back home anytime soon. Thinking about it after a while, the man planned on kidnapping me from the start, trying to take away my phone so I wouldn't call for help, and proceeded to pretend he was having a fight with someone on the phone to secretly message his buddies that he's close by. This happened about 3 years ago. I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time with my husband. After finally moving to the US, I'm Canadian, and marrying, it was our first home to ourselves where we could be together all the time. We'd been doing long distance for 3 years before that, and as my husband is in the military, sometimes it would be extra long distance on his deployments. At this time, I was about 6 months pregnant, and my husband was gone to a temporary duty station a few states away for a few months, leaving me alone in a new city and a new country. My sister was sweet enough to come and visit me and keep me company during the time he was gone. It was wonderful to have company. I felt much safer with someone I knew there. Our tiny 2-bedroom apartment was on the ground floor. One bedroom had been set up for our baby girl with a crib and chair and all of that. The other bedroom was ours. So my sister just bunked with me in our queen-sized bed while she visited, to prevent her from sleeping on our uncomfy couch. It had been about a week into her visit, and after doing some shopping and relaxing, my sister decides to hit the hay. I finish up cleaning, lock up the apartment, and go to sleep too. Now the setup of our apartment went a little like this. There was the front door you could access through the hallway, which opened right into our kitchen to the right, and our laundry room to the left. This was also connected to our living room, so it was a wide open space. The nursery was off to the left, our bedroom off to the right, and we had a sliding glass door at the back of the living room that opened up onto a small concrete patio and some grass. It was about 4 a.m., and being extremely rotund, I was a light sleeper. I had been tossing and turning, and awoke to a light shining in my face. I cracked open an eyelid, and shot up immediately with a scream. There, in my bedroom doorway, was a girl no older than about 25, standing in pajama pants and a bra, hair in a black, messy bun. Strangely enough, she was also holding one of my empty laundry baskets. The door was open, and the kitchen lights were blaring into my room. My sister sat up and screamed, "Oh my God!" My hand reflexively went to my belly. I think I probably peed myself a little out of terror and pregnancy. I didn't have a gun or a knife around, so I sat there fat and helpless and terrified. The girl took a step back and stammered, I think I'm in the wrong apartment. Sorry." My sister takes medications to help her sleep, and she was kind of out of it, and being Canadian doesn't help. "Oh, it's okay, she said, and then went right back to sleep. The girl backed up and immediately sprinted out of my apartment through my front door, only in her bra and still holding my damn laundry basket. I sat there frozen for a good 15 minutes as the light from the sunrise started filling my room. Then suddenly I picked up the phone, bursting into tears, and called my husband. I explained the situation to him, too afraid to get out of bed. I woke up my sister in an angry, terrified manner, asking her why the hell she told that girl it was okay that she was in my home and that she was just sleeping. She sheepishly said she was still a little sedated and was a bit out of it. We walk out into the living room and the back sliding door is wide open, with cool morning air billowing in. So this is how she got into the apartment. I close it and pull the lock on it, then give it a few good tugs. It opens right up after a strong pull. Well, I guess that explains it. I walk through the apartment, and when I get to the baby's room, a strange sight appeared. Some of the baby's clothes were on the floor. Her dresser drawers were open, and the clothes were scattered. There was a tiny black bra on the floor. My sister and I were certainly not A-cups, so this wasn't ours. After checking through her suitcase, we realized that our intruder had taken off her bra and put on my sister's. There was also no shirt to be found, so I have no idea whether she entered the apartment clothed or not. And finally, the clothes I had folded into my laundry basket on top of the dryer had been dumped onto the floor. None of the clothes were taken, but the basket was gone. I opened our front door and peeked out into the hallway, and no basket was there. My sister and I concluded this must have been some kind of drunk or strung out girl who had wandered in. I called that morning and reported it to the landlord, and got them to replace that shitty back lock. When I was 19 years old, I had hit a dating rut. Between college and work, I was unable to put much effort into meeting new people or forming new relationships. I'm female, by the way. My best friend at the time had just recently married, and with no dating life for herself anymore, she decided that helping me find the right guy would be the next best thing. I honestly wasn't even that interested in dating at the time. I just wanted to finish my basics and transfer to a large university. But she insisted I give it a chance, and she asked if it was alright to give this guy she knows my phone number. I was wary at first and refused, until she started begging. She pleads about how handsome this guy is, and how he's 25 and has a stable life. She tells me about the well-paying job he has, about the house he built himself, about the ranch and horses she owns. She glorifies him as this sensitive, caring, attractive, and put-together guy. But I know no one is that perfect. I ask, what's the catch? She replies that he only has one leg. Now that in and of itself is not necessarily a problem, until she says, he accidentally shot himself in the leg and it had to be amputated. I look at her like she just said the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I explain that I don't want to date someone who mishandles a gun so badly that they shoot their own leg off. But after her begging and pleading, I cave and me and him begin chatting. I can't remember his name, so let's just call him Steve. The first couple of days of us texting went pretty okay. He was charming, funny, and it was easy to keep a conversation going between us. He had a slight arrogant tone and bragged a bit, but I excused it. I mean, if I had my own house and high-paying job at 25, I think I would be a little smug too. He made a few comments, though, that sent up a warning flag. Like how when we discussed meeting in person, he talked about wanting to wait for a while before we met, and that before we meet, he would like to see me in public. But like, me not see him in public. He wanted to go to a public place where he could observe me without me realizing he was there. Now that was some creepy-ass shit. I told myself I was looking too deep into it, and tried to give the guy a chance. But on the third day, or more specifically night, he suddenly decided things weren't moving fast enough. He began asking inappropriate questions, like what my sexual experience was, what my deepest, darkest hidden kinks were. Had I ever masturbated? I expressed my discomfort with this due to us only knowing each other for 3 days. He backed off and apologized, and began to guilt-trip me on that. At the time, I didn't notice. He said manipulative things like, I didn't really mean anything by it, I just want you to trust me. And I don't want our relationship to be a normal relationship. I want us to be open with one another. And I just want to be the only person that you trust your fears with. Another day or night of this, and I very stupidly told him one of my deepest, darkest kinks that I have never and will never tell anyone about. I won't even name what it is in this story. He immediately sympathizes with me and assures me that he feels the same, while wanting me to go into further detail. I immediately feel regret and try to change the topic. He keeps trying to bring it up again, and I explain that I'm not comfortable, and that I don't think I should have told him those things because it was too soon. I explain that I wanted to take it slow, so he agrees and we change topics. We start talking about his home and his ranch, and I ask him to send pictures of his house because he built it himself. He immediately starts sending me photo after photo of his home and ranch and all his horses. For a while it's no text, just pictures being sent one right after the other. A picture of his house, a picture of his yard, his horse, a picture of his erect dick, and then a picture of his fence. I immediately interrupt him with, "What the fuck?" and he asks if I liked it, to which I reply no. I try to explain how inappropriate that is and try to understand why he thought it was okay to send that, when it had nothing to do with what we were talking about. He gets irritated and says, "Damn, just chill, stop freaking out. It wasn't even my dick." Excuse me? Wasn't your dick? Then whose dick was it? I proceed to blow up and we get into a fight. I contact the friend who set us up and explain what happened. She tells me that Steve has also contacted her, and that he was calling me a bitch and saying that I was psycho. Me and my friend agree to just ignore him and end the conversation. This completely infuriates him. He begins threatening not just me but my friend too, saying he's going to kill us and our families and that we should be sorry and all that jazz. We ignored it until he literally recites our fucking home addresses to us. We pay attention after that. No, I never told him which city I lived in or anything like that. I asked my friend how exactly she knew him, and she said she kinda lied and didn't really know him that well. She used to work in an FYE at the local mall, and apparently this psycho was a customer who shot there, and one day she just randomly asked if he was single and if he might be interested in me. I proceed to lose my shit. She didn't even know the guy. The guy shouldn't even know our last names, and here he is, now telling us the names of our parents, our siblings, and our own telephone numbers. We immediately take screenshots of everything he's saying, and inform him that if he doesn't stop, then we're involving the police. Of course, he continues with his threats. My friend's mom is the secretary of a lawyer, so after reporting Steve to the authorities and blocking him, we took the situation to my friend's mom and she took care of it. I don't have the exact details, but we never heard from him again. Reading this might not seem too scary to you. Retelling it now makes it seem pretty humorous, but when a stranger is reciting your own address to you and threatening your well-being, it can be pretty damn terrifying. A few days later, I came to the realization that I should have known the dick pic wasn't his because the guy in the picture had 2 legs. What is up, guys? Blue Spooky here, as always. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave feedback in the comments below, as well as perhaps like, share, or subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you have a personal story that you'd like to submit, or you'd like to just send me a message, links to all of my social media will be in the description for the video below. This includes my Gmail, Twitter, and Facebook accounts. Go ahead and send me a message on any of those and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you do decide to send in a story, please be sure to include in the tagline what the theme of the story is, if it has any, the name of the story, and how you would like to be credited in the description of the video the story appears in. If you're curious at all about the music used in this video, the music is always listed in the description below, in the order which it appears. I also have links to the artists and list the tracks by name, just in case you want to find more of their work. Last but not least, if you have any criticism, please be sure to leave it in the comments below, as I'm always looking for new ways to improve the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.